Well, I hope the last lecture on creating this game over menu wasn't so confusing, and if it was, please do ask questions. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna deal a little bit more with user interface, but this is going to be a simpler version of our user interface because there's no such thing as dynamic items such as this stars here. And we're gonna create the main menu. So double click on this, I'm gonna save mine. And I'm going to create an image, so game object, UI, image. As said, the canvas gets created automatically for us. I'm going to make this image wrap or fill all of our scene. And you can see that this is being displayed, and this is of course this part of our UI here. And you can disable this by disabling gizmos. I enabled it before and I kind of forgot to disable it. So I'm going to make this fill my entire screen, and to make this adapt to higher or lower resolutions or game tab scales, we need to make this rect transform adapt to scaling, stretching it both horizontally and vertically using this option here. Alright, so now it adapts, no problem with this, and this image will stay white because this is going to be the background. And I'm going to create a new image, game object, UI, image. This is going to be the logo, so I'm going to expand image here, choose a new one, select the logo. There you go, probably scale it up a little bit. Maybe even more. It's going to preserve aspect ratio just in case. This looks good, so just to make sure that it scales accordingly to the game tab, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna use the anchors to wrap it up as we did a few times since the last lecture, and now it scales up and down accordingly. And what we just have to do is place the two buttons. One is going to be for a quick game, and the other one's going to be for actually going to the game. And I'm going to use the same two buttons that we already have. One is the one that has the play logo kind of thing, and the other is the X. So game object, UI, button. Remove the text. There's no text. Change the sprite to be this one. This is the play button. Of course, we have to preserve the aspect ratio because this is really ugly. And scale it up a little bit. Move it here so it's aligned with our logo here. I'm gonna duplicate it. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'm gonna move it to the other side here, and I'm gonna choose the close button, which is gonna work for closing our application. And of course, we need to wrap these items up with the anchors. I should have done this before and then duplicating it, but yeah, I'm kind of slow sometimes. There we go. Not really a hard work. And now it doesn't look really polished. This main menu is kind of lame, but it's gonna do the job. The focus is actually on the game and not on the main menu. And to actually call those functions that we need, we can use the same game manager script, even though we're gonna disable a few functionalities from it. So I'm gonna create a new game object, and I'm gonna call it the game manager. And I will attach the game manager script to this. Of course, this canvas, platform, apple, and stars, they don't have to be filled, but if they're not, when you hit play, you get an error. It says that the variable canvas hasn't been assigned. So to remove this error so you don't get it, you just can edit the script. And you saw how each scene has an index. And this index is in order of how they're placed in the build settings. For example, the main menu is the third scene, therefore it has index 0. The game scene is the second, therefore it has index 1, so on and so forth. So I just want to execute this, which is basically setting points to 0 and disabling the canvas, when I am in scene index 1, which is the game. So in case I am in scene index 0, which is the main menu, I don't want to execute this. So I'm going to do the following. If application dot loaded level is equals to 1, then I want to execute this. Else I just do nothing because I know that I'm in main menu. Alright, so when you hit play now, this error should be gone. Okay, and we need to create another function here. We just have a function that loads a scene, but to quit the game we have to call a specific function from the application class. And we're going to define this function here, public void quit game. It has no parameters. And to quit the game, we just need to call application dot quit. And this function, it only works in the standalone version. So if you try to call this function in the editor, it won't do anything. So be aware of that. It's not that it's not working, it means that it doesn't work in the editor. It works pretty much as you should expect on a standalone. It will quit the game, but in the editor it does nothing. And in our main menu, when we press this play button, we want to add a new event. The event is going to be a function from the game manager object. We want to call the function, oh, it's hard to see. So I'm just gonna disable these so I can see the elements, the functions, because as I said, my screen's broken, so there's a huge black part here where I can see anything. So I want to call the function load scene, and the scene I want to load is game, of course, because I want to play the game. And in the case of this cancel button, I want to, of course, run an event. The event is calling a function on this game manager object. The function is inside the game manager class or script, and it's called quit game. As you can see, in this case there's no parameter, so of course you don't have to pass any. And just before we are done with this lecture, we're going to do a little bit of renaming. So this is our background, PG. This is the logo. This is the play button. And this is the quit button. And I guess this is it. So if we play the game, and if I click on this X, which is the quit game, as you can see, it doesn't do anything because, again, this doesn't work in the editor. It only works in the standalone version. So if you click, File, Build Settings, and then you build your game, and then you run that standalone that has been generated, this is going to work only in standalone. So web also doesn't work because there's no such thing as quitting the game in the web. Quitting a game in the web is basically just hitting X on the page that has been opened, right? So if I hit play, as you can see, it works, and I'm playing my game. So let's break a little of this wooden planks. Okay, so I'm gonna die now. Oops, I died. And if I hit this X button, I go back to the main menu. If I hit play, go back to the game again. And it's working really nicely. We have a working game we did out of nowhere. And what happened here is that I hit the side of the platform. So this is not allowed. The particles played, but I got a game over, right? Okay, so there's just a few things that are missing. We're missing sounds, and I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, so this is it for the UI lectures.